Good afternoon. My name is Jamie and my channel name is Read Brucey. This is my first attempt at filming long form content, so bear with me today. I am a host in the for a picnic in June, Readathon, and yay, it's my birthday month. About to be 51 years old. Crazy, I know. A week from today, as a matter of fact. And so this readathon is all hosted by people who all have birthdays in June. Lucy from the Lucy Chronicles here on YouTube, Kay from Kay's Library, Jay from the Kansan Readers, and then Lindsay Lou Lemus, who is on Instagram, myself, who has mostly been on Instagram and has just kind of getting this channel off the ground. All have June birthdays. This A Picnic in June, if you haven't seen the graphics, I will put them in the description, and I will post a picture here in case you'd like to join us. It's a total of 6 books, 5 and 1 extra prompt, so maybe something you're interested in. But the 6th prompt is a bonus prompt, and the bonus prompt says, look up one of the hosts and read one of their favorite books. Well, for me, picking a favorite book is hard. I have lots of favorite books. I mean, it's like a favorite child or a favorite student. I'm a high school English teacher, and it's hard for me to say, who my favorite student is, which you're not supposed to have favorites. I guess it would depend on day to day who my favorite student is. My favorite book, of course, is going to be of all time is the one that should be everybody's favorite book, and that would be the Bible. Okay, this is one of my journaling Bibles, so it's full of art, and one of my artistic journaling Bibles, so it's got art and stuff in it. If you can look back here, I have more than my fair share of Bibles. We should all have a love affair with the Bible, because we should be in the Word daily, loving and caring and trying to become more involved in the Bible. In fact, one of the prompts from Lindsay is Bible study. So, definitely one of my the favorite of all time's book. But let's talk about my favorite fiction and nonfiction books besides the Bible. So my favorite of all time, I guess, Christian fiction historical romance, and this is an OG one back from when I was a teenager, would be The Hawk and the Jewel. I will post a picture up there. This is, I don't truly know why I love this book so much, but I read this book over and over when I was a teenager. It just spoke to me somehow. Such a sweet story. Read it a couple years ago and loved it even then. Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers is, I would call this my favorite hard-hitting Christian fiction. Also my favorite non-traditional biblical retelling. Switching gears a little bit, my favorite childhood book, and probably my favorite series, and the book that actually taught me to love reading, and that was the Little House on the Prairie books, or the Little House series. This series, like I said, taught me to love reading, and if I had to pick a book from this series that I would say is my favorite, would be one of the latter ones. It's called These Happy Golden Years. I don't know why, but that one was always my favorite. My favorite red-headed character, and if anybody knows me, knows which book I'm going to say, and that would be Anne of Green Gables. Loved this book, especially when I was a teenager. Still love this book. I mean, there's so many things I could say about this book. You know, as a redhead, I'm not much of one these days, but I've always been a redhead until about 15 years ago. I I identified very much with Anne. Loved to dress like her back in the day as well. My favorite high fantasy would be Lord of the Rings. I mean, you know, this trilogy is the ultimate high fantasy by J.R.R. Tolkien. My favorite kids allegorical fantasy book would be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and probably all of the Chronicles of Narnia for that matter. Just, you know, what what can we say about it? Okay. My favorite classic book. Also my favorite Regency romance. I mean, come on. How can we not mention this one? That would be Pride and Prejudice. Okay. By Jane Austen. I mean, I know some people who don't love them, but I got to ask, who doesn't love Mr. Darcy and Lizzie? Well, I do know a couple people, but you know what I mean. My favorite secular dystopian books, and I have a couple of these, and that would be The Hunger Games by Susan Collins and Divergent by Veronica Roth. Good grief. And these are, you know, obviously some of my all time favorite books, especially from when I first started teaching. These books were just coming out, and it was so amazing to read these and share these with my students. Another dystopian book that is a favorite, but I'm going to list it as my favorite book to ever teach, and that was The Giver. I can't even explain this book if you've never read it. Some people might not even call it clean because it has a couple things in it that are a little scary or a little crazy. But you know, we teach it in the 7th grade, but it's an eye-opening book, and that is The Giver by Lois Lowry. One of my favorite series that I've read in the last couple of years, very reminiscent of Anne of Green Gables. If you know me, if you've been around my Bookstagram, you know what I'm going to say. And that is The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. Love these books. This series is it's just amazing. I can't, you know, quirky, fun, magical realism, um, set in the Victorian London. Is not quite a real suburb, but somewhere close to the London area. One of my favorite new to me authors is, and she writes fantasy, Christian fantasy, would be Ashley Willingham. And I just read her War of Crowns trilogy and Chef's Kiss. I love that book, that series. Started Ink and Ivy, her book that comes out June the 16th, started it today. So it's a cozy Christian fantasy. So no, I'm going to love that one. One of my favorite newer Christian series, and this is one that if you've been around, excuse me, if you've been around the Christian fiction community, the Christian booktube community, you know this series, and that is the Timeless series by Gabrielle Meyer, sorry. And of course, the first book in that series is called When the Day Comes. And again, these books are about time crossing, not really time travel. The concept's called time crossing. The character wakes up in one time period one day, goes to sleep, and wakes up in another the next day. And so they're dual timeline. I would consider them also magical realism, but the faith in these are just spot on. One of the last books that I wanted to mention um, that really caught my attention in just the last couple of weeks was a favorite Christian thriller. And I know you think Christian thriller, but Jessica R. Patch is a newer author to me just in the last couple of years, but she wrote a book that just released back, I believe, in May called The Girl Upstairs. And if you want a thriller-esque book, I would suggest giving Jessica R. Patch a read. The Girl Upstairs, amazing. I could go on and on and on here about favorite books, listing every kind of book in the world. Let me add a couple of Christian dystopian books to the list. Lindsay Llewellyn, her The Chaos Grid duology, The Chaos Grid, and The Crier Stone. Love that series. If you're looking for a Christian dystopian, love those books. Megan Scholas, and I may not be saying her name right, so I apologize, but love her Protector series, which is an Esther retelling. Um, Nova Maccabee, I believe is how you say her name. The Calculated series, another great one. Um, all kinds of great books out there. So if you want books that I would recommend, that is a wide range of books that I think you should give a read. Let me add here the favorite nonfiction, and I mentioned this just recently in a video, and that is by Ken Gurley, The Point of Low Points, which is tells the story of Joseph, and it tells the story of some issues that Brother Ken Gurley had with his church in Houston. Just amazing book about dealing with the things you're going through in your life. And if you're looking for a book, you can get this one at the Pentecostal Publishing House. It's kind of a specific book, but if you're looking for a Christian nonfiction book to help you along, this is a great one. Please join us for this readathon. As I said, I have a short video going through some recommendations from all the hosts for all the prompts. There's a video on my Instagram talking about the readathon. You can look up Lucy's announcement video for a thorough explanation of how the prompts work. We'd love to have you, and I'll be back soon for an introduction video that really talks about who I am and who I am as a reader. Thank you for your time.